Hi, Lauren Hagen. In this video, I'm going to share with you another approach to coloring textured hair. In the last video, I showed more of a classic way when we were coloring textured hair. In this video, I'm going to take more of a creative approach and also really talk about the different curl patterns and the way that we need to approach when we are really dealing with a curl pattern of a 7 to an 8, which is going to be the most tightest curl that we can deal with. Check it out. I begin by taking a face line film and place it right on the hairline. Now you can absolutely use foil. However, I find that these films work really great when doing something a little bit more creative, as well as working with textured hair. You can see the adhesive sticks right onto the forehead. I'll begin by taking my product and applying that on the film. Now this is where your creativity really comes into play. You can choose to apply your product in zone 1, zone 2, or zone 3. What you'll notice that I've done is I applied a little bit of product in through what would be the end of zone 1 and zone 2, and then I applied more product at the bottom, leaving a space in between. I'm also applying the product with my spatula. Now I'll begin by taking my first slice. Also notice that I'm working on a diagonal. I'm doing this so I can stay slightly out of the client's face. Now, if you want to be completely out of the client's face, you can begin this technique in the back, whatever works for you. Notice how I'll stretch the hair and I lay it right on the film. Now we follow the line that's on the film and apply more product. The reason that I like using a spatula versus a color brush is I find when you're doing a technique like this, if you use a color brush, the color brush has a tendency to stick onto the curl pattern. With the spatula, it's a little easier just to apply the product on the area that you want. You'll notice that I'll apply the product and sometimes I work my spatula up and then sometimes I'll work the spatula down. Now you can see that there's a space in between the first application and the second application. This is where you can really be creative and figure out where you want to see the maximum lightness. We'll then go in and take another film and lay it right on top. Now you can choose to leave the adhesive on or take the adhesive off, just as long as the film sticks onto your product. We'll then go in and take our next slice. Now I'm choosing to do all back-to-back slices, but you can absolutely leave hair out in between if you don't want to see as much color. We'll take the hair, stretch it out, and lay it right on top of the film. Now you'll notice that I like to apply the product on the film. I feel that this helps to allow the hair, once the hair is laying on top of the film, to stick a little bit easier. Here we go again. Take the spatula and just follow your line. Now you'll notice on this section, I'm only choosing to do one line of color. So this is where you can really choose as you work through your section, how many different lines of color do you want to have? As I go through the entire top, I bricklay. On some sections I'll do 2, on some sections I'll do 1. Now the whole idea behind doing this type of bricklay pattern is when you deal with textured hair, and especially really tighter textures that are a 7 or an 8, because of the density of the hair, it's really difficult to get maximum reflection of lightness. So the idea is when you have that positive and negative space in between having those lines of color, you have a much greater chance of having the maximum reflection of lightness throughout the area that you color. Now you'll notice that I chose to take a circle section and I'm just working on top. However, you can do this technique through the whole entire head. You can also choose to have a triangle section or an oblong or a diamond, wherever you want to see the explosion of your color. Now I'm also working with lightener, but you definitely could do this with a high lift color, a permanent color, or even use this as a glossing technique. Here's the few hot tips that are really great takeaways. Using the film allows you to see through from section 1, section 2, section 3, so on and so forth. So if you're playing around with bricklaying your color, you can see what you did in the previous section. Another great hot tip is really working with the spatula, because the spatula will allow you to apply the color without the color or the hair really removing off of the color. The last thing is have fun and be as creative as you want, depending on the texture that your client has. Here's the very last section. As we finish this up, we'll place a film on top and we'll let her sit and process. Our product of choice is Flash Lift with pH bonder inside and 30 volume. Here's the slide with the formula. Go ahead and take a screenshot.